Welcome to the No Podcast with me, Nikki Spo.
What is up, light beams and truth speakers? Y'all, I'm going to curse a lot more than usual in this episode. Editors, let's get those F-bombs out. All right, you are listening to The No, where it's not about knowing everything. It's about coming to know ourselves. I'm your hostess, Nikki Spo, and I am sharing some breaking news today, y'all. I am not healed. Yes, that is the news. I know. Surprise, surprise. I get messages sometimes talking about, you don't know everything. You don't know everything you know. What do you think you are? Pretending to be all high and mighty and evolved and whoop. I figured I'd hop on and address some of this backwash, swamp water, bull poop. This show is not about being a know-it-all. It's literally in my tagline. It's not about knowing everything. It's about coming to know yourselves. And your girl is healing, not healed. I'm going to share some tidbits of life recently because, as always, my guys, I think you may find it relatable. And then some tips on how to combat, you guessed it, haters and general people. Let's go. All right, guys and gals, here's a quick little dump for you to remind you all that I am normal and have some drama bones in me, like most people. For starters, I don't want anyone in my audience to come through here thinking I have all my ducks in a row. I do not have all the ducks in the rows. I'm just working really hard at it, trying to find the joy in it, trying and not always 100% of the time succeeding to be a good person while doing it. Do I have bad days? Yes, I do. Do I yell at my kids sometimes? Check mark. Do I get overstimulated and super triggered sometimes and forget to use my years worth of tools? You bet I do. Because baby cakes, I am not perfect. I am not fully healed. And if you're an actual living, breathing human being, you likely aren't either perfectly, perfect, or fully healed. All right? You know why? One, there's no perfect ever in any capacity. And two, healing is forever. You don't actually arrive, guys. This first point about there not being any perfect, it's a big cliche that we all know and understand, yet we still bash our souls against the walls trying to be perfect when it is not possible because there's a bunch of other imperfect people out there judging us, when the only one who can judge us and judge our souls is, you guessed it, the big girl on campus. That girl is God, or guy, however you see God. So I'm not going to spend much time here on that topic, on the perfect topic. It doesn't exist. I am going to spend time on the latter, the healing part. The healing is forever part. We don't actually arrive, that part. I'll give you an example of exactly how unhealed and how triggerable I can be, okay? Hope you find some relatability in this. I had a weird week, y'all. After coming back from a great weekend, like literally amazing weekend, traveling with my family, and then being hit with my grandmother's death, and grieving over my grandmother's passing, all my kids got COVID. Stay in the house, and no one touch each other, and don't touch the baby, and no one touch me because somehow I have to take care of all of you, right? I was operating on intense, high potential for being triggered mode. That was what I was operating on. And so, me like anybody else. I saw a couple of things online that I felt jilted, jealous, angry about. And instead of breathing, rejecting, and redirecting, and sitting with my feelings and observing and not judging all of the things that I tell myself and you all to do, did I do that? Nope, I did not. No, sirree, I did not. I yapped my big fat mouth and I caught major attitude with folks, and mean things were said across the board. I'm not proud of it. While I was being the biggest brat on the planet, my brain was like, Nikki, stop this right now. Stop it. But I couldn't. I was on a roll. I had, you guys, a meltdown like a child, because sometimes adults have those too. And you want to know what snapped me to attention? Not my feelings. No, a threat. A person said to me in their own fit of anger and sarcasm, breaking news, producer of The No who flaunts positivity acts out in girl shaming in regards to drug use. Rewind. Oh, okay, yeah. That headline would totally suck. One, I hate girl shaming, and I actually consider myself to be a super girl's girl. And two, I do not think I am better than anyone because I'm sober. While I can consciously observe others who use drugs or alcohol in an abusive way, I do not think I am better than those people because I am that person. When given the opportunity, I will 100% abuse those things, which is why maintaining my sobriety is so important to me. That said, that's definitely not who I want to be or be perceived as, someone who girl shames. Yeah, right. And it also made me sad about the things I said when I was already mad at myself for losing my cool cut. Like, think to yourself for a moment. Have you ever been losing your cool and you're like, stop doing this, don't say another word. You're telling yourself, don't say another word, and you're still talking, right? You can't help yourself sometimes, okay? Why am I sharing this? Here's the thing. I want us all to consider something. First of all, I don't consider myself to be famous, a celebrity, a socialite, any of that, whatever. But as a person who does have a platform and does use her voice to hopefully bring about general positivity to a large but small network of people, I want to really humbly tell everybody that I am not perfect and I make hella mistakes too. Again, why am I sharing this? Because we are so damn hard on ourselves. And we are so damn hard on other people. I think there's a misconception that if you talk about healing, that you are automatically healed and thus you cannot make mistakes or else you're a hypocrite. Part of the healing process is knowing that you will continue to make mistakes and that the learning curve is forever. Especially if you grew up in a traumatic household. And I was talking about this with one of my friends recently. Especially if you grew up in a traumatic household and all that your baseline knows is chaos, I want you to know that I know firsthand how hard it is to try to break that cycle. It's hella hard. And it's so easy to fall back into a familiar, comfortable hell of chaos and anger and yuck. If I have learned anything from working a 12-step program, which I swear every person should do, whether or not they struggle with addiction, it's really a program for life. These are two main things. 1, apologizing immediately or as soon as possible for having done or said something hurtful, whether it was intentional or not. And 2, document, process, and release your resentments. Let me cover those a little more specifically. 1, taking accountability does not mean accepting responsibility for the entirety of a situation gone bad. It means taking responsibility for your part in the experience, your part only. Call it cleaning your side of the street. I don't have to clean your side, but I can 100% clean my side. And the cleaning of my side of the street cannot depend on another person's cleaning of theirs, right? Okay, I want you to think about that. You cannot just clean your side of the street just because the other person did it first. You got to keep your side of the street clean, my guys. We get the opportunity to take accountability for our hurtful actions, whether or not the other person chooses to do the same, and whether or not our hurtful words or actions were intentional. Maybe that person will clean his or her side of the street. Maybe she or he won't. It doesn't matter. It matters that you take responsibility for your part. We apologize when we are wrong. While we do not grovel for forgiveness, we ask lovingly for it when it's appropriate. A note on apologies. Here are some apologies that aren't actually apologies. I'm sorry that you took it that way is not an apology. It redirects the transgression back to the person for their perspective, and it invalidates their feelings of pain. I'm sorry I did this, but it was because you triggered me to do so. My triggers are my responsibility. My actions are my responsibility. No one, no matter what, can force you into action. I think it's my opinion that apologies are usually received best when you say something along the lines of, I am sorry for the way I behaved yesterday. I regret saying XYZ. It was cruel to speak the way I did. I did not mean what I said. I realize how hurtful that was, and I hope you'll forgive me. All right? This brings me to resentments. Resentment sucks. I always refer to it as drinking poison yourself and then expecting the other person to die. And resentment is creepily easy to keep. Whether people would take responsibility for their actions or not, holding resentment towards others ultimately only hurts ourselves. My imperfect, still learning advice here is to write down who you are resentful towards and why you are resentful. Ask yourself what your part was, if any, in the situation. Ask yourself what is in your control, if anything. Ask yourself if you would be willing to release your feelings of anger and animosity. Ask yourself how your anger and animosity is serving you. It usually is not, right? Which I have a subtopic to talk about here, and that's anger. As far back as I can remember, I've been told I was angry. I even got to the point where I started joking with people that I was born angry. I no longer believe this to be true. I believe that I have angry feelings at times, and maybe I've even had angry phases, but I do not believe I am an angry person. And for a long time, I let people tell me that that's all I was. And so I believed it. And then the prophecy just got worse and worse and worse, and the angrier and angrier and angrier I became. And here's the thing about anger. It actually does serve a purpose. It reveals to you when your boundaries have been crossed. It reveals to you the ways you feel you've been treated unjustly or neglected or hurt. In my personal non-know-it-all experience, periods of prolonged anger continue when we haven't faced those things that we've been hurt by. And we do that in so many ways, right? We don't face the things in so many ways. We avoid, we don't confront, we stay silent, we bring it up and aren't met with care. We throw it in people's faces inappropriately, and the list goes on. And what it then comes down to is our willingness to stay in a hurtful situation or our willingness to keep harboring the hurt in our hearts. My friends, healing is not linear. We do not arrive. We continue to work at it. I am not perfect. People close to me would probably tell you I'm a great person, but that I can also be a real see you next Tuesday, all right? And fortunately, they love me through my mess and they hold me accountable and they allow me the space and the grace to apologize, grow, and rebuild. I am so lucky that way, but the work is never ending. So if you're listening to today's message and it's hitting for you, I want to encourage you to be kind to yourself. It hurts to live in anger. It hurts to do things that we regret, and it hurts to hurt. And sometimes, guys, it hurts to heal, but we do it anyway because we want beautiful, full lives with people that we love and cherish and who love and cherish us. I want that for myself, and I want it for you. If you know anyone hurting today or just in need of a gentle reminder to be kind to his or herself, share this episode with that person. It could make their day. Thanks for listening, my truth speakers. I love you all. Over and out. Thank you so much for listening to The Know. If you loved this episode, go ahead and share it with a friend. Words are so powerful, and someone may need to hear what we covered today. And if you really loved this episode, please take a moment to rate the show and leave a review. Your comments are so important and valued, and they give other listeners insight on what to expect on The Know. You can connect with me personally via Instagram at Nikki Spo and The Know with Nikki Spo. My hope for you today is that you are fearless in looking inward so that you can be your highest, most authentic self and go after the life of your dreams.